to win. This is why. No matter what, there's a spirit of survival in us. That strength, that energy that says that yes, this thing is coming at me, but I will overcome it. The criminal and the one who thinks he's a saint. Grace pushes all of us to the same level and brings mercy upon our lives.
This and every Sunday at 6 p.m. GMT on all social media handles at Aqua EK and on ekaqua.com. God richly bless you.
Strive for full restoration. Encourage one another.
The Word
Of one mind.
with EK Aqua.
God expects us to go beyond the battle with human beings and be able to even contend with horses and overpower them in competition. God expects us to win. No matter what, there's a spirit of survival in us. That spirit, that energy that says that yes, this thing is coming at me, but I will overcome it. The criminal and the one who thinks he's a saint. Grace pushes all of us to the same level and brings mercy upon our lives.
This and every Sunday at 6 p.m. GMT on all social media handles at Aqua EK and on ekaqua.com. God richly bless you.
One another with a kiss of love. Peace to you all who are in Christ. Romans 16:16. Greet one another with a holy kiss. All the churches of Christ send greetings. 1 Corinthians 16:20. All the brothers and sisters here send you greetings. Greet one another with a holy kiss. 1 Thessalonians 5:26. 1 Thessalonians 5:26. Greet all God's people with a holy kiss. Now, this is Paul having lived with the Corinthian church for a few years and had left them or was leaving and wrote a first letter, wrote a second letter. And in the second letter, apparently some things were going on. And so in the second letter, he sought to address those things. But then when he was about to finish, something was stirring him up. And then he wrote to the people and said, I am afraid that maybe when I come, I may not see you the way I want. And the reason why he had that fear was that he somehow felt that after all these years that he spent with them and has been with them, there may be some among them who may be creating discord. In spite of all the preaching, Apostle Paul's preaching. I'm talking about Apostle Paul. In spite of all his teaching, all his impartation and everything, he had been with them. But something was stirring him up. And that thing created fear and said, I'm afraid that maybe when I come. And I want to believe that it is something that was on the heart of God, that God was declaring a fear, that I'm afraid that maybe when Jesus comes, and that some among you may be sowing seeds of discord. Some may be creating jealousy and envy. Fits of rage, creating anger and hurt and pain, hurting one another, saying things. Selfish ambition in our desire to be somebody, to be some officer, to be something, we may be pulling one another backwards. Gossip and slander. You are not too sure of what you are saying, but you say it with such audacity and boldness, even though what you're saying may not be true. Or even if it is true, who has sent you? And that those things may create discord. And some may be doing that because of arrogance. and it may create disorder. So Paul, who had been with the people, was afraid in his parting message. But in the midst of the fear, there was a strong element of hope. And because he wanted to preempt or seek God's grace that that fear never came to pass, he decided to write. And today, by the same oil, I have decided to share these things. That it will not happen that anybody here is or will be a reason for discord or gossip or slander. And that I will be leaving a church behind that can have a kind of a relationship. I know this one in Ghana, I don't know how possible, and especially in Church of Pentecost. But that we shall have a church with a kind of a relationship that you can look into the face of somebody, draw so close, and be able to give that person a kiss of love. Now, if I'm to ask you that, everybody in this church, from the elders, can you look in the face of everybody in this church and say, I love this person so much that I am even able to kiss the person? And when we talk of, and as I'm ministering, just let your mind quickly go. Ask yourself, is there anybody in this church you feel that you cannot kiss? And when I say you cannot kiss, I'm not talking about, as for immediately I say kiss, I'm sure when I was talking about kiss, I know what came into some people's mind. But when the Bible talks of a holy kiss, a kiss of love, it's talking about the extent of bonding, a state of relationship, the heart. Now, let me come to why I understood why this hard saying. In about 2010, I was ordained an apostle of this church. Then I moved to South Africa after ministry. With all my heart, with everything that was in me, I had full hope of building a great church. We poured our heart, we did everything. I knew we had an awesome relationship with officers, pastors. And we're moving. Around a particular time, we were on the verge of a mighty breakthrough. When for some years we had gone through very difficult times. After that mighty breakthrough, God knows what I'm talking about. Then, from nowhere, the very officers, leaders that I knew, and I believed in all my heart that everything I did, the years that we went off even sometimes without salaries, for the sake of the work, just to make sure everybody was happy. All of a sudden, I don't know what happened. Then fits of rage. I sat in a meeting and watched people, officers, leaders, say things. Oh goodness, say things which had not even come to my mind, and say with such confidence and boldness. I don't want to say lying. No, that would be too strong. But I would say they were saying untruth. I knew it was not true. I sat there, listened, and at a point I broke into tears. I couldn't believe that my own people, I just couldn't believe it. I wept bitter. What? And the things started pouring. said all kinds of things, wrote all kinds of things that as I stand before you, I know in my heart of hearts were not true. And these were my people. These were people I loved and I was doing all out for. Paul is saying, I'm afraid. Now, he said all kinds of things, and I just, from that time when I heard them say, I decided not to speak again. This is my first time I'm publicly talking about this, and I know why I'm doing this. I decided not to talk. After that, they said, after they said everything, at the end of the day, I was demoted as an apostle of this church. I knew in my heart I had not done it. And as I stand here, I know I didn't do. I know what they said was not true. But you see, and this is where I'm really coming to. I had two options: to become bitter, to become angry, to see people and be hurt, or to develop the capacity to give a holy kiss. So somebody advised me. I don't know whether I should mention the person's name, but he was such a help. My goodness. So I chose the second option. Now look at me. And I said, I'm going to give a holy kiss. So the very people who said all kinds of things before I left South Africa, the same people were in my house who were laughing. Were laughing and talking and chatting. And they were the ones who saw me off. While some people were in Ghana thinking were in Dada. I chose that I was going to bless them. I chose that I was going to be so happy. And I'm not saying this to please you. I can say in my heart of heart that I have not a single pain or bitterness on any of them. None of them. If I should tell you the things that were said, you would be shocked. So I decided that when I came back, some people say, people thought I was going to resign. They said, man, just a caterpillar. Just a caterpillar. Now, listen to me. I had every reason to be angry. Some of you, the kind of things that were said about me, you are so hurt. You have decided not to do ABC, not to talk to ABC, not to talk to DFG. You are so angry, you are so hurt, and if God doesn't intervene today, you are going to the grave with that anger. If you're an elder, and I want to ask all the elders to come forward, please. All elders. I want to leave a church where no elder has a pain in his heart. May I ask you to line up? Some of us, God take us through certain experiences for the sake of his church. Now hear me, elders. I don't know, but in this work, you may have a pastor who will hurt you. I'm sure some have already hurt you. I'm sure. You may have a deacon, you may have a deaconess, and you are the ones leading the church. When your heart is bitter, I can tell you whatever you pour out is poison. Sometimes you know the way the pastor is treating you is not right. You even want the work to go on well, but he will not treat you well. And if you are not careful, you will resolve that I will never help this church again. Oh, goodness. God knows my heart. It was not easy. One of the people, I was so bitter and angry in initial stages. Even when I saw his face on Facebook, I just couldn't take it. So one day I said, you lie bad. You rather go, not me. So I took the picture on the Facebook. I said, I love you, I love you, I love you, I love you. And since then, today when I see him, I just said, but because I have worked here, some of them, when they see you, they can't. Can see. May you rise above pain and bitterness. And let no elder, let no officer be the reason for any discord. It should never happen in PRWC that you become a reason for somebody's hurt and pain. And I've called you officers because you are the spirit of this church. Respectfully, I know some of you have been in the church for so long, but pain is no respecter of how long you've been in the church. And I'm speaking into tomorrow. I don't know what may happen tomorrow before you die. Maybe somebody may do something. When that happens, remember that there was a small boy called Kwesiakwa who went through. I submitted myself to the church discipline. Let me just say something. Sometimes when it happens like that, then you know those who truly respected you, isn't it? Some people see you and they treat you like you are an overseer. Sometimes even people you yourself demote. I'm saying all this to know that there will be a reason for you to be hurt. But I developed a holy case attitude. I want you all right now bow down and look into your hearts. Has anybody done something to you 10 years ago, 5 years ago, 1 year ago? Has any pastor, any elder, any member, you open your heart to do somebody good and the person stabbed you in the back? I'm talking about people who were so close with. Sometimes when people you are not close with hurt you or do something, it's easy to manage. But somebody you knew from your heart of heart. So if mommy laughs me, those days I used to go, I call him crew pound. Until I say, because will be crew. I say, hey, crew you. I trusted people so much. So please, I beg you by the mercies of God, I am afraid. And I want my elders to be elders with no pain in their heart, no bitterness, so that you can make it to heaven. Don't allow somebody, look, somebody can hurt you and repent and go to heaven, and you'll be here hurting and go to hell. Put your hands on your heart. I'm pleading for two things. Don't be the reason for somebody's hurt. Don't. Because you don't know the covenant God has with that member seated there, that you are talking to anyhow, that you are mistreating, or that you are saying a false thing against. You don't know the covenant God has with that person. Don't be the reason. Don't allow the devil at any point for the rest of your life to be a reason for somebody's pain. Talk to your father. If you're an elder and you and your wife, you know, before the Lord's Supper, do something about it. You know, you and your wife, you are not the best of friends. You and your children, you are fighting. Father, oh God, today take out every discord in our hearts. No. I only wanted you to learn the lessons of my story. If not, I would have told you, but that's not necessary. I would have told you the details. But as long as I just want you to know that I went through something which I knew in my heart, but I still love them. I tell you, I don't have any hurt. So please take out every hurt. Father, I pray, church, I want you all to stretch your hands on these elders. They are the spirit of this church. And if any of them has hurt in their heart or is creating discord, is gossiping, I know it won't happen, but for the sake of the church, I know what I'm talking about, so it's possible. When at a point, maybe anger, maybe some decision, anything can make you behave in a way you'll be shocked. Nyami humigu mimu Chame ukwa fufu Namaye Miwa Elder, so and so, do you believe that all the elders in this church, you can hug them and kiss them? Do you have that spirit? All the deacons and deaconesses, can you? All the pastors you have worked with, can you, from your heart of hearts? Oh God, please. We all have our stories to tell. You have your own way of training all of us. But please, I am sharing these things with your church so that by the time I come back, they would have been strengthened. And in their hearts would have been no pain or bitterness or anger or sliding back or relaxing. That they will have nobody, no pastor, no elder, no officer, no one in their hearts that they are still having pains about. I'm asking for a healing balm this morning. And by authority of your spirit, I heal every wounded heart here. God, I know it's not easy, I know, but you are more powerful than our pain. So heal them. And put in their hands so much fire that nothing will beat them. They become, Father, remember what you told me, that we are an unbeatable team, and PRWC elders are part of this team. I mobilize them into the team, the army of an unbeatable team. In Jesus' mighty name. I believe that I have been here.
The Word with EK Aqua.
God expects us to go beyond the battle with human beings and be able to even contend with horses and overpower them in competition. God expects us to win. No matter what, there's a spirit of survival in us. That strength, that energy that says that, yes, this thing is coming at me, but I will overcome it. The criminal and the one who thinks is a saint. Grace pushes all of us to the same level and brings mercy upon our lives.
This and every Sunday at 6 p.m. GMT on all social media handles at Aqua EK and on ekaqua.com. God richly bless you. The Word with EK Aqua.
God expects us to go beyond the battle with human beings and be able to even contend with horses and overpower them in competition. God expects us to win. No matter what, there's a spirit of survival in us. That strength, that energy that says that, yes, this thing is coming at me, but I will overcome it. The criminal and the one who thinks is a saint. Grace pushes all of us to the same level and brings mercy upon our lives.
This and every Sunday at 6 p.m. GMT on all social media handles at Aqua EK and on ekaqua.com. God richly bless you.